we are live.
We're live and ready to.
How's it going, Mr. Peter?
It's going pretty good. It's Friday. Spent a lot of time talking to people in real life this week versus just on the internet, so that's been fun.
That's a super treat. That's amazing.
Yeah.
What's it like? No,
What's
kidding.
it like? What's it like? Yeah.
What do you notice? What do you notice about the bandwidth differences and etc.?
In real life, people see, like, I because I spend so much time talking to people on the internet, I catch some of this little, like, social anxiety towards real life interaction, but because I was doing that before and was kind of nervous about that, but then took my nervousness into talking to people on the internet and then conquered that. And now when I go back to real life, like, I find it way easy to talk to people, and, like, the barrier, it's more, I think it's just a confidence thing. Like, I just see how in my head I catch anxiety about, you know, what am I gonna say when I'm in front of these people? You know, like, who this, that. But when I get there, it's just like everyone's excited to talk to you, and
that's fun.
You're not like nobody's like testing you or anything like that, you know. And so you're just like chilling and talking to people. And it's like, and I get to play more like in the, I don't know. It's funny how eye contact is such like a creates social hierarchies, and how you use it, like how you use it and whatnot. And I do get people to take me seriously quickly just because of how it's unscripted, probably.
So you stare into their souls. You're like, make a move, and it's like it like puts them in line a little bit.
I say something, and then I really look at them and make them say something back. You know?
God, that's freaking masterful. I mean, that's like next level. Like, hey man, this is your chance to respond to the important shit I just told you.
Yeah. And so, like, I went to some Bitcoin meetups earlier this week. That was really fun. Met some cool people that I had known from in real life that I knew on the internet. Made some new people that now I'm friends with on Twitter, and maybe I'll, be able to do some cool stuff with them on the internet, or just at least engage with them, start some fires, put some fires out, etc.
Nice.
It's always fun, internet fires.
Love it. Dude,
And
this is the best of all worlds. It's like a nice hybrid. It's like an online in-person hybrid.
Yeah. Yeah. And then today I've been talking to people. I've been talking to some local, like, blue collar unions.
Wow.
Yeah, like union apprenticeship program coordinators.
That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
What's the conversation about?
So I just was like going in there acting like I was.
Is it related to a Cardano situation, or just
No.
like
It's related to me. I was like, I miss doing this week. I was like, I miss doing stuff with my hands.
Yeah.
And
totally.
So I was like, what would it take for me to get a welding certificate, and
nice,
because I always liked welding.
Yeah, man.
And so I went and talked to a guy over at the
This is awesome, dude.
and steam fitters. Steam fitters union, and he was really cool. He was obviously like a good guy and knew what he was talking about, and had all his facts straight and whatnot. And then I went and talked to the electricians union or whatever, like
nice, dude.
Groundmen. And those guys, it was like very distinct differences in terms
Oh
of
yeah,
those two unions. Like,
they're a little more technical. I mean, they're a little more technology, I would imagine, in the updated tech in the electricity situation.
no, I don't know, man. I was not impressed at all by those guys.
Really,
At
really.
all. Like,
That's
comparatively, like one of the, like I was in there talking to one of the the recruiter or whatever. I don't know whether he was a recruiter or he called himself a recruiter. Versus like at the steam fitters union, he was an apprentice, the apprenticeship coordinator.
Yep.
But the recruiter, like I was talking to the recruiter, and this other guy came in the room, with a dip in his mouth and a spitter, smelling like straight liquor, and was just talking.
Oh,
like,
God,
I don't
like-
know who he was, but he was drunk on the job, like.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn,
And then the presentation and the way the recruiter was answering questions did not inspire confidence in me. Also, the starting rates for apprentices at the electricians union were like $13 to $15 an hour versus the one versus the steam fitters one were like 17. So
that's nice.
yeah, and then I was like asking about, they were like everything was like planned out versus it at your rate scale was very predetermined, and you were like in contracts with the electrician, but you.
Woo!
Hell yeah!
Fast one. Just flip them out. Just flip them. Fun. Dude. So steam fitters, and plumbing and
steam
electrical.
Fitters, yeah.
Yeah.
Plumbing, HVAC, and piping and welding. Like there's 3 different tracks at this one union versus the electricians union. It was just like groundmen, inside versus outside electrical stuff, and it was I literally asked the guy, the electrician. I was like, all right, so what type of workers who are your biggest contractors, and what type of employees they want, like, could I just choose which one I work for, etc., blah blah blah. And he gave me a long roundabout answer, and then essentially told me that all of the contractors just want dummies that have a heartbeat and show up on time. And I was like, what is this world like? I definitely don't want to be an electrician anymore.
Dude, out of the 2 of those, I mean, all of that sounds amazing. If I had to choose one of those, it was that, and so it was. Let me just make sure I got them all. So plumbing, and then the HVAC, and then you've got the steam fitters, which is probably for like bigger buildings and stuff.
Well,
with steam
pipes.
Systems.
It's like
Pipes,
plumbing, but industrial piping and welding. It's like the welding. It's really more straight towards welding different types of stuff, but at pipes.
Yeah. But you'd be more having and then you've got electrical, inside outside. Dude, electrical would be the one I would go into, just because it's really close to tech, and electrical, it just seems so powerful. Like, I mean, power comes from electricity, but like but the other stuff, however, when I was like 16, I got obsessed with arc welding, and like was really going down the route to being a tradesman in that area. So I know what you mean. Like, welding is fun as shit. So, but dude, that is so freaking cool. A union job like that, and building up a skill set that you like. I mean, that's fun. I mean, that's solid. Like,
well, it's a commitment. Like, they're both Department of Labor apprenticeship programs, so they're 5 years, and you essentially get out with 10,000 hours of experience between
that's amazing.
Training and on the job well, yeah,
Grenade out.
just the work, the labor that you do. I don't
Yeah.
know. I want to have part-time. I want to be able to do what I've been doing part-time. I don't necessarily.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Have it like do like a two-prong attack kind of situation.
yeah, which
At
exactly,
least.
and that's what I want. But
Turret
I
armed and ready.
looked into like the local community colleges
Uh-huh.
welding program, and that's for the evening classes. They have it's 6 hours, 5 days a week.
That's
for
a
a
lot.
year. Yeah. 6 hours a
On
day,
the job
5
training
days
is
a
going to
week.
be like so much more. On the job training is so much more lit. It's like because
Right.
you're dealing directly with customers from day one, and then there is kind of, if you go to school, you're sort of in an abstract land in school, and you might have some good setups, but if you can go straight to the bench, so to speak, that's the move.
Yeah.
What was the community college welding? Did it look cool? I guess you would learn.
Yeah, I mean, they
you have to
had
read
great
yeah.
facility. I mean, I didn't get to tour, but I went and looked in some through the door windows.
Mhm.
It was a very nice facility for sure, and
Nice.
yeah, I'm sure it would be good.
Yeah. There's a transition period between school and work where you still have to. The people who you're working for, they haven't been in school in a long time, so you still have to kind of prove yourself a little bit in terms of like, you have to like demonstrate your skills. I just the whole concept of like just being an apprentice, like working like at a place that does. That's so radical. I love that.
Yeah. Well, it's an apprenticeship with the union, essentially. So they have
Yeah.
contractors that they're in relationship with, and you go work for one of them, and then 2 days a week you have 3 hours of class.
Nice.
So
Hey,
it's yeah.
Granted Dog Love just joined our channel and became a follower. And our
yeah.
rabid panda waved at him, or her,
Hey,
or
dude.
them. Hey, what's up? Hey, what's up?
So
Man, these are great options, dude. This is fantastic.
yeah, I think it is cool. I just don't know that. I don't know. I also got a another job for crypto consulting today.
That's awesome.
This is Cardano related. It's to design governance for a project that's launching. And
Nice.
so
I'm with you in 5.
for the first 3 months, I have an agreement with this project to do some stuff that could turn into more money, as well as
Yeah.
more responsibility on that project. Depending on what I can put together. And
Nice.
and that's now through like March, and then it would be a reval, and then the apprenticeship program for the steam fitter welding bit, that starts in March. Like they're not even accepting applications until March.
Oh, right on. So that's like a little planning for the
this is like
future.
ahead of time. So I think about that for a little while. I don't know. I think that would be
Dude,
cool.
these are good horizons. These are great
Yeah.
irons in the fire.
Yeah, because I don't know. I've just been thinking with I don't know.
Well,
I just haven't been feeling very stable, and
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool to have some good blue collar licensing. Like if I were to
Yeah,
get it,
fuck
like
yeah.
obviously I'd have to like not smoke weed for a little while. You got to be able to pass drug tests.
Pass
At
drug
least,
test, yep.
and get through the doors. And then I don't know
Absolutely.
how you might get fucked if you ever got rando tested. But most of the time, once you get into it's a professional type setting and you get through the door, it's a little bit, unless you're messing stuff up or being weird or breaking things abnormally, they're not gonna give you too hard of a time. But it's so interesting, like, I can't weld without passing a drug test, or, you know, work for any construction company without passing a drug test, but they don't even drug test teachers. Like, the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. Teachers union's pretty good.
You could teach 5-year-olds on drugs, but you can't pick up a hammer.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the and it's just so crazy about weed being, you know, I mean, I guess someone actually being high at work is dangerous.
Yeah,
like, that would be dangerous.
That would be dangerous, especially because a lot of people who work construction are just idiots. So any type of
and you've got so much mass around you. You know, there's so much equipment and fire and energy
so
and like
mass. You're right. Yeah, that's a good point. Like soft tissue, like human.
Well, soft tissue does not. The body does not respond even to a little bit of mass being thrown at it. You know, it doesn't. It's pretty. But anyway, the thing that's always crazy to me about the drug testing is it's like, you know, the craziest drugs, like if you do like cocaine and like, I think cocaine and heroin wash out of your system in like a weekend. I think cocaine washes out in like a weekend.
2 days.
And so it's like drug testing wouldn't exist if it wasn't for cannabis because it's fat soluble. Like because it sticks to the fat in your body, it takes like at least 28 days to wash out, and then or something like that, right in that zone, and then you know, it can still hang around a lot, and
yeah, but if you know what you're doing, dude, you can you can plug up. I mean, it's real. I've done it before. You can you could take some essentially gel. It's called Serto. I don't know if you've heard about this, but
no,
you can take Serto, and as it plugs up your body's the way you metabolize fat for X number of hours, you can feel it does not feel good. And I've had a lot of friends that have tried that did it before me, but you know, didn't really acknowledge the downsides of what you're doing. Like I totally felt plugged up the one time that I did it, but
so it gives you like a window when your urine isn't going to have any fats in it.
It gives you a window where you won't you're not going to get the metabolites.
That's interesting.
You've got a bunch of gunk that no one would ever eat in one setting, plugging your body up for like 6 hours.
Wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's worth it.
Nice.
Me spilling the beans on how to pass drug tests on the internet. Live. Coming at you
I'm sure
live.
there's plenty of ancillary websites for the interested.
That's the first thing that comes up. Yeah.
Nice. Well, it's just I mean, I don't know. I lived in San Francisco when I was in my early 20s. And I had like one of the best jobs in the world. I worked at this place on Shattuck Avenue called the Jupiter. It's still there. The Jupiter's still there. It's like a really good greasy pizza place. But at that time, this was in the 90s, they had like some kind of a higher end restaurant-y kind of area in addition to the greasy pizza place. And of course, it's right down the street from University of Berkeley, and so lots of college kids, lots of dorms, like infinite college crowd for the pizza slices there. And my boss was like a regular heroin user, and it was normally like not even a thing, like it didn't even come up. And then, but he went on like this crazy ass bender one weekend and just like disappeared like all weekend. And then he came back and he looked like he hadn't slept the entire time. And it was kind of messed up. But there's a lot of God, what was it? It was like the World Health Organization said that something like 90% of all drug use is it doesn't cause any problems. So like people use like globally, like people could be like using heroin and then they do whatever else they're gonna do. I'm not saying like go to use heroin, kids, but I'm just like saying like you know, the stigma that we put around drugs is sometimes worse than the actual side effects of the drugs themselves.
Oh yeah, I've been more negatively affected, by far by
Sure.
drug prohibition in terms of the. Well, yeah, it's kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, just being scared.
Well, and then it's
like,
also it's the mindset that goes with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and that you're less than or something. All these like fuck off. The guys at like this recruiter at the fucking
drunk on the job.
Day, like I mean it wasn't the recruiter, the guy I wasn't talking to. I don't think he was necessarily drinking at that moment, but there was his buddy was. That came in. I don't know what that guy's role was. But
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and that's
like,
that's a pretty.
Yeah, and it's not. It's like.
Afterward.
By far, I am a more valuable asset than. Yeah, even though I smoke weed, than the majority of people that you'd hire. So let me smoke a little weed and get out of my asshole.
I've been a medical.
Than you.
Nice. I've been a medical cannabis user for this year is 10 years. I have been 10 years. 10 years I've been smoking, and I started in 2012, and it has in general been an absolute miracle for my life. There's so many benefits to it, and it is such a really good medicine. It helps me with my inflammation and with my pain. And I don't have much inflammation nor much pain when I'm using it regularly. But I find that after work is pretty awesome. And yeah, it's just I don't know. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to me to be like high like at work, because it's like work is like tasks and to-do lists and responsibilities and like being on the ball. And it's like, for me, that's what it is. And it's like, why would I want to take some task that's already very challenging and like magnify its challenging components?
A little bit, yeah.
Was I breaking up?
Yeah. Nope, you were clean. Straight in.
That's cool. Sometimes the Starlink satellites don't line up. But yeah. The benefits are super high, and yeah, I don't have any trouble with people who drink or whatever. I just never have. I just have never drank, and I find that when people are a little tipsy, they're pretty hilarious, and even when they're absolutely blasted, they're it depends on how many of them you're around, but it can be completely manageable. But yeah, the effects, the after effects of alcohol the next day are just crazy. Like,
yeah, I don't like it.
It is wild. Compared to weed, weed is like
down.
nothing.
Shoot her. Oh.
Nice. She's kind of slipped by my radar. Darn, I got turned back around.
Walked right past.
All right. She walked right past me. I was under her spell. I was under her witchcraft for a brief minute.
Holding me. Yeah.
A simple civilian hungry for turtle justice.
A simple civilian hungry for turtle justice. We've got 1 minute to make this all very real.
Oh shit!
Nice job, dude.
Nice.
I had your back there.
You sweeped him up.
That's the way those heroes hate to be turned around. They do not work when they're turned around.
Yep, shoot him in the back.
Yeah, I mean, Colorado was the first state to legalize in 2012, and watching the stigma come off of the society here was so beneficial. There were so many like collective benefits from people just essentially getting high rather than using other drugs, which are primarily like alcohol and other stuff. But there was all kinds of very positive, not on the personal level, but on the societal level. Lots of reductions in domestic abuse and crime and violence, and just a more general sense of relaxed, just a more relaxed public, I would say, which is magical. Okay, we got 6 seconds. We're on base. We just got to hold this now forever. We're gonna go into OT here in a sec. Oh boy. We're out. All right, there goes the OT dumping down. There's in. I'm with you in 3, 2, 1. Boy, we got some work to do here. We got to put in some work here. Whoa. no problem. I was jumping in at that exacto momento. All right. Let's do this. Yeah. Yeah. There's a Colorado. Last time I was in a job search was 2019, and the Colorado had was just significantly reducing. I think it was only 30% of Colorado companies still do drug tests. Of course, all the federal stuff was still drug tested and stuff, but there was a yeah, the drug testing industry wouldn't exist without cannabis because of the fat solubility. Everything else washes out super fast, even though it's supposed to do it. I don't know. There's a yes, the stigma around drugs is sometimes worse than the actual drugs themselves. That's what that 90% of non-problematic use by the World Health Organization says. It says that all over the world, people essentially do what people would consider drugs, but they are still functional and can still participate in society. And you know, that kind of works out for them or whatever. Yeah, I think if you were gonna
well, just look at how many people are on opiates and still work.
Oh, you know? Illegal opiates that you can get over the counter. It's so sad, and they get stuck on them. And dude, when my wife was in the hospital, when she had an emergency surgery and essentially died and came back in January of 2020, right before the pandemic. Dude, when she was coming back in to her body, she was saying things when she died, she could sort of see out over time, and she saw all of this crazy stuff that was coming in to the world, happening, and it was almost enough to convince her to walk away from the game. She was like, oh, it's so sad and it's so hard here, and it's going to be so hard for people. And then within about she got out of the hospital February 1st or January 30th, within a little less than a month, we were rocking into the COVID. And I was just like, holy shit, she saw it coming.
Damn.
But anyway, when she was in the hospital, it was remarkable to me how fixated on heroin, on bottles of heroin they were there. Everybody in the entire building got what's called an oxygen meter put on their finger. And the reason why they have to do that is because if you accidentally give someone too much heroin, you know, Oxycontin or whatever you're using there, if you give someone too much of that painkiller, they get so relaxed that they forget to breathe and they essentially suffocate. And when they start to
pulse ox, pulse ox oximeter.
Oh yeah, the pulse
they put on
oximeter pulse ox. Okay.
Yeah. That measures your O2 saturation in your blood with infrared light.
Yeah, and if you've accidentally overdosed someone in one of these many rooms that they have to watch, the entire hospital is wired to detect the ODs.
Yeah.
And I'm like that's what that's for. That's the entire everybody gets one. No exceptions. I was like,
yeah.
Anywho, the degree to which they were I had so many nurses and just I ran into so many nurses that really had shark eyes, and they were like, yeah, we all do, you know, but more or less heroin here, all the time. It's no problem. We can get you hooked up. You can get on just 10 milligrams a day or 20. I'm like, I was like, yo, stop counseling me about the amount of heroin that my wife can start doing to help her problems. This is not helpful at all.
It's not inspiring confidence.
Not inspiring confidence, and also just what the fuck are we talking about? That it's that's where you want to be, is just on H,
you
just
be,
daily.
Yeah, just getting
what?
hugs from.
Yeah, I have worked in my career. I have worked with people who have been daily heroin users who have been just fine. I mean, those nurses, that's what they were telling me, that they were daily heroin users. They were on heroin right then, at that moment. They were they were recommending getting on it.
Damn,
and I was
nurses were?
They were telling me how they were saying everybody there was on it. They were talking about pain management for my wife when she got home, and she's like, yeah, man, you know, it's no big deal, you can totally get her on this, and everybody here does it. And I'm just like, yo, thank you so much. I know you feel I'm trusted right now, you're sharing your secrets with me, but that sounds like the worst idea. Yeah. I was at a major we were at a major hospital, and it wasn't just some people, it was a lot of the people that worked there. Like, I started looking for people that looked like they weren't doing H, and it was like, it was wild. And these are just the nurses. These are the actual people there that were there to help you or whatever. So anyway, I think it's crazy to me that like you could pass a heroin test by like getting off for a very short period of time. But, you know, it's like a month for cannabis, and it's like, and the effects, the relative effects, like how much cannabis would you have to smoke to get the life effects and the side effects of heroin? It'd be like a lot, dude. It'd be like, that'd be like, I don't even know if you could do it. I don't think you could.
Yeah, and I don't know. Yeah. Well,
it's all very.
The thing is, like, it's not even heroin. Heroin's all right for you, dude. But all like Oxycontin and Tramadol, you know, there's different levels of different potencies with all these, and they all have different names essentially. But they all are combined with NSAIDs, which are really bad for chronic use. Like, they're bad for
because that's what they put in there to try to stop the chronic use, right? Like that's. They put that in there so it's a little bit of a kind of a poison that they put in there so you don't shoot it, right? Like or something like that.
Why they put it in there.
I think they do. I think they put it in there to stop people from abusing it, because if you use it as label, those won't mess you up. But if you use them, but yeah, if you start abusing it, it's those that'll get you. It'll like screw up your liver, rather than you know. Yeah. That's just like that's all part of the. My goodness gracious, this is such a heavy conversation, but like, you know, you gotta really look at like the why. Like, why would someone want to do that, or why would that be the move? You know, it's like, and then you get right into society and into, you know, loneliness and people being more alone and technology enabling that and the side effects of it and. Breakdown of the family and, you know, the cultural breakdowns. There's like to kind of pull out drug use and say like that's the issue. It's like, yo, if you want to stop drug use, get everybody a job. Like problematic drug use. Like all right.
I don't want to work though. Lots of people don't. Oh yeah, but speaking of like, yeah, it's crazy. I was talking. Bailey's school was wanting to do like a event for the students, and they were talking about, you know, what type of event they are. Oh, let's do a daddy-daughter event or whatever. But they literally can't do that because that's emphasizing gender roles. You know, like, that's putting, like, they can't do one about. Haley's calling me right now. I don't even know what my phone is.
You want to go hit it? Go ahead. You need to. Dang. Almost got it. Yeah. Did you catch the phone? You still there?
Yeah, 1 second. So.
Yeah, no problem. Take your time. All right, we're working him here into the corner. We are closing in here on the room. Well, we are capping. That is what is happening. Alright, coming in over here to the right. We're capping both points here. A and B. B is getting taken down. A's gonna beat us just slightly. This is awesome. They're gonna have to mount a serious attack to put down this counter remittance to their rebellion here.
Victory will be ours when we have secured this last sector. We advance toward victory. Make ready. Victory is within our grasp.
Almost got him.
Only one enemy position remains.
Alright. Here we go. They are having a hard time holding this one. And we are capping. Okay, it's coming from the right. Dude, this is wild. This is traditionally one of the most difficult last stages to capture here, and we are just rocking this. We've got some good heroes out in front. I think that's the main reason why it's going so smoothly. We've got a little front end reduction in enemy troop strength, which is nice. There we go. We've also just been steady capping for like a minute, took 2 minutes with you in 2, Peter. Alright, nice! It's a victory. It's a victory. And we are going to interlude. See you in a sec, everyone. perfect timing.
Perfect.
Timing. We emerge. Perfect timing. Emerging from hyperspace, all on cue and on point. Well, okay. So, the last time I did a job search was in 2019, and only 30% of places were drug testing here in the United States, in Colorado, and but I was looking at some federal employment, and I thought there was some really cool stuff that was going on in one of the skunk works. There was like I think it was Boeing, Lockheed Martin. It might have been Lockheed Martin. Anyway, they were making a skunk works, which is like their experimental, like, hey, let's make like alien spacecraft anti-gravity drive shit work or whatever.
Yeah.
At least that's the word on the street. But it's all their experimental planes, and they were making a podcast, and they needed help in their creative department doing podcasting and coming up with like scripts and visuals, and I was like, dude, I love this, let's go.
Cool.
And so yeah, so I detoxed for like 28 days. I used a whole bunch of herbs to help me get the cannabis like out of my body. But dude, the milk thistles and all the stuff you have to take, it's so hard on your liver. It's trying to like scrub your liver. So it did not feel great to be like a herbal chem scrubbed like in the liver. That was like ugh. But I got my own little strips, and I was testing myself, and I knew what my window was. When I used various cleaners, and because you can get like little herbal boosts when you actually take the test or whatever. And I got my whole thing like kind of figured out. I didn't end up getting that job, but
you
it was.
failed the test.
I did not fail the test.
Huh.
No, but it wasn't for the. It wasn't. I didn't get to that part of the interview process for that one. But what I decided after that, when I got employed, and then I traded up for another. I got one job, and then I traded up for another job, and then I got into my job that I'm in now, and in that process. I was just like, dude, the amount of like turmoil I had to go through, like physiologically, for the test, I was like, that was not worth it. And it's just quite crazy, because, like you say, I mean, people do use a lot of drugs, and I mean like drugs, like methamphetamines, amphetamines, opiates, things that are way crazier than like getting high after you get home from work.
Right.
It's like in terms of side effects, and like god, I worked in my 20s. I did when I was traveling a lot, I did a lot of temp work, and when you're doing temp work, it's a lot of times it's people who are basically having to use during the day, for whatever reason, because they've got trauma, or they are they're a vet, or they're injured, or whatever's going on. But oh my god, my gigs and stints as janitors, you'd see so many people that were like nodding off at work, like they were in like a serious opiate situation.
A serious situation with the opiate.
However, also some of the nicest people, really, quite frankly, when you got to talk to them, like they're just like very sweet and kind. It's like, dude, you could leave a baby in this person's arms if they wouldn't fall asleep all the time or whatever. I did not get the sense that these people I knew casually were like bad. I got the sense that, they just had this complex thing going on with their life, and all these other things to think about. And it was like, gee, like, we do not make this easy.
No. Yep. And
I think it's a scapegoat. It's a scapegoat for a lot of other societal stuff. It's not. Yeah, it's. And it's also like we're doing something about the problem, but the black market that drugs create is just by keeping them illegal is just insane. It's
and the damage
absolutely
that it outsources trauma too.
Big time. Creates all the incentives for the cartels to load up on our border. Like I was reading something. Who was I hearing this? Some podcast I listened to. I wish I could credit it, but oh man, I'm getting a little chilly in here. I'm gonna put this. I'm gonna put on my awesome snuggly hat here.
Snuggly hat.
Oh yeah. If you are illegally coming through the southern border of the United States and you are sneaking into America, that enterprise is 100% dominated by the cartels through coyotes. And when people sneak into America and they didn't pay the cartel fee or whatever, they get hunted down and like made an example of. So like the cartels, like the word on the street is like, essentially the cartel is protecting our southern border and forcing everybody to pay them like a pre-fee to try to sneak into the United States. And so the idea that you're like gonna empower that group with like a black market so that they can extract billions and billions out of your society, and then expect it not to go horribly wrong. That's just not real. It's totally
you're making
and the
an
amount of
opportunity
violence
for
is
them
not
to cash flow.
Yeah, you're setting up a stand and saying only bad guys can make money here.
Yeah.
It's like why
Only
like
the worst
watching
of the worst. Only the people who are willing to do violence. Yeah.
and traffic humans and like sell pounds of fentanyl that can kill like an entire city, stuff like that. It's just like it's insane. It's a lot of so yes, if a really sober look at the whole situation usually reveals the need to cut off the money out of the system, like stop the incentives.
Prepare to retreat and regroup.
But also, the amount of money that we spend on jails, and we clog up the courts with drug crime stuff, like petty drug crime stuff. It's really damaging. I mean, it slows down, it messes up so much of society, and breaks up families, and it really is one of the actual things that is like super racist in America. It's like the drug policy. It's like you can point to the numbers and be like, we know that use is 100% unparalleled between the races. Like, so why are there more of these people in jail than not? Than these other people.
Because
And it's
it
just
was
like
invented.
Yeah.
The part of it was invented to be racist.
Exactly.
The
The chief of staff of Richard Nixon, I forget his name, but on his deathbed he published a book, and he said that Nixon wanted to get the blacks and the hippies, and they were like, dude, civil rights, you can't just like identify people by their skin color, dude. And they were like, well shit, well if we can't go after them that way, how do we do it? And it's like, go for the drugs. And so the Sweeping Psychedelics Act was a political tool to put their political opponents, which were hippies and black people at the time, in jail for the crime of using something that was widely available in the United States for a really long time. Anyway, that's where it comes from. It was a political tool. It was our politics run amok, using that as the way to strike out against the people who were disagreeing with you and wanting a different kind of set of policies.
Yeah.
Which is like, yo, how un-American is that shit? That's the most un-American shit ever.
Well, yeah. What is America? Yeah. Well, it's interesting to think about.
What is America?
Even what is America?
Oh.
Yeah. Like, you see, like the nationalization of business in China. All right.
Right.
But
No, they grab their billionaires off the streets, throw them in a prison camp until they sign their assets over. Like that's how that works. Like that's almost got on.
Extreme. Is an extreme case over there, but then you also can see how in like America you have nationalization of industries through regulatory capture. And
so there's like just one.
Yeah.
Like
Essentially,
it's the same thing as Monopoly, right? I mean, it's the same problem.
Yeah, it's Monopoly, but it's not necessarily just one. Monopoly would be one company, but like, let's say I was at this Bitcoin meetup where they were talking. They had people who are not very knowledgeable of the beef industry and whatnot there, and there's four big companies that essentially control all the processing, the pricing and processing of meat in America, and to the point where they cut out local cattlemen,
farms, like you'd want,
farms and
quality
Whole
goes down.
Foods and a lot end up importing tons of meat from other countries instead, just because the FDA doesn't know and hasn't prioritized being able to regulate small meat processors, and therefore there's like 4 meat processors, and they don't support, and small farms have like 18 have to say how they have to say how many cows they're gonna have like 18 months ahead of time and get a slot to be able to process 50 cows, but you know that's like
it seems like you could, as a society, you could leverage technology to get your you could have some kind of device that would like let people do their own, like you couldn't fake out the device and it would be like self-regulatory. If you spent the money on an infrastructure that allowed smaller businesses to compete, like you're saying, they don't want to do the paperwork. Somebody doesn't want to do the paperwork, right? Which is why they can't. Oh, we did a great job on that one. That level is measured in how well your defense goes. We lost the major objective there, but but that was like we put up a great fight. Like at every stage of that, that was fun for a level that could be kind of lame. Okay, so tell me more about these beef packing plant situations.
Yeah.
So you're talking about how the conglomeration, how because of the regulatory capture, they start making rules that only the largest entities can. They're pushing people out of the market by making the rules to participate in the market only favor the larger entity, which has financial ties into essentially the regulatory agency.
Yeah. You raise the barrier of entry for the small guy, and then use the capital that you have to buy everyone who's coming close to you, and your capital also to, hire lawyers and lobbyists to push your agenda into the future. And that's we have to figure out how to combat that in general in society, honestly.
the Sam Bankman-Fried thing in and the collapse of FTX, right? Like that dude did he give billions
effective
to political parties?
Mm-hmm.
I think he bought like billions of dollars of politicians, like goodwill. Like it's so crazy how he's not
managing public persona and leveraging it upward.
No, I mean that kid. I mean, the funny part about that story is that kid looks like he barely could, find 2 socks in the morning. And it's like you ask yourself, like, how did he so smoothly move through the world? He was lining it with cash. He was just bribing everybody at every stage of everything.
he was a fancy boy. He grew up in the political stream. He went. Sure. His parents are Harvard attorneys, and he went to MIT, right. And he earned a bunch of money in 2017, 2018 arbitrage trading Bitcoin, because Bitcoin was valued more in like South Korea or something than the rest of the world. So Alameda Research made all their money to get started by just buying Bitcoin and selling it in Korea.
That's like the least creative thing you could do, like arbitrage currency. Yeah. But I mean, works, right? But it's like buy money, which is nothing anyway, and then sell it to somewhere else. It's like there's no soul at any point in this process. Like a cow didn't live for this process or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. When I was working at Whole Foods, I worked as their IT person in the building, but I also worked in the whole body department, like the vitamins, and it was super fun. When I worked there, they were just starting the programs that they're kind of famous for, like the Green Mission Task Force. You go into any Whole Foods, and all the Whole Foods do a Green Mission Task Force, which is like they try to figure out how much of the shit in the building they can recycle. And it's when we first started it, there was like 6 of us in the Colorado region. I was in the Kansas City store, and we sat down and just kind of like I figured out we had regular recycling, and then I figured out food recycling. And by doing food recycling, we ended up saving like $7,000 per week or month. I couldn't remember. I don't remember. There's a big difference between those two, but it was a lot of cash. Yeah, well, food scraps. Yeah, you can take food and compost it, rather than throwing it away. So it's kind of like the food turns back into soil, turns back into food again. Mm-hmm. And it's less energy in the system. So like little plants need their. I'm right with you, dude. Okay, we got B. Okay, plants need their nutrients, right? And so when things die and mushrooms dissolve them, they make the minerals and all that available to the plants, and then the plants can actually grow. So if you take food and compost it, it puts the little building blocks that plants need back in the system much faster than if you just wait for it to go. If you wait for it to rebuild in some other way. But anyway, this was like real recycling, and the reason I was doing the food recycling wasn't because I was like, yo, compost. I was like, yo, let's save this 7K. Like, it was like, we actually were able to not have to do some what's called back shipping for a number of different reasons. But in any event, those programs, when they started, those programs were dope-tastic. They were great, and we just kicked off the fisheries one, and the fisheries one was about fish like it if they're essentially raised in a pen in a natural environment that's like supervised more or less, and they can be raised in all sorts of environments. They can be raised in environments where it's like they've got plastic pipes and they get PVCs in their little fish cells, and then when you eat a fish, it's like, oh, you get to eat a plastic pipe. And some of them had, just different levels of quality. So anyway, it's very, very long way of saying it, but what Whole Foods did is they took the money that they were going to spend anyway on fish, because their people on their aisles wanted fish. So they say, okay, when we spend this money, we are going to spend on all of the level 5 fish retailers first, then 4, then 3, then 2, then 1. And they had quality standards at each level. So to get to the highest quality standard, you had to be amazing. And when they started the program, everybody was 1s and 2s. Like, there was no 3s or 4s. But like what that meant was, if you were going to work with Whole Foods and you were willing to take your operation from a 2 to a 3, give the fish like a better deal, more or less. Make it easier on the fish and easier on the environment. If you did that, there was this money that you would just qualify for, more or less. It was almost like a government fish buying. It was like guaranteed purchases like if you could get to this level. Yeah, it's like a grant. You're nailing it. But it was completely market driven. So Whole Foods spent the exact same money, and the fish quality went up and up and up and up. And it was like I was like, that's fucking genius. Because you're like, you don't have to pass any laws and say, hey man, it's the Be Nice to Fish Act. What you say is, if you're nice to the fish, we'll fucking buy them, and if you aren't, we won't. And then it's like
leverage your
organized.
Demand for better quality, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, just like that. It'll work. Everything else will work out, and nobody had to be told what to do, and nobody had to be told they were bad for not doing the right thing, which is a shit way to motivate people. It's a stupid way to motivate people.
What the free market is supposed to create.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I don't know. If people were really serious about carbon, they would tax that shit. You notice there's no carbon tax. It's like, you can, there's, you know what would be cool to start, dude? A department of scams. Just like a department of scams, and every year the United States people gave the Department of Scams funding of whatever. Call it $250 million to start with, or whatever. Just a huge chunk of money, right? And the only way that you can get the money out of the jail would be to find a scam and expose it. And at the end of the year, the higher the money that was lost by the scam was, meaning you found the biggest scam, you get the bigger chunk of the pot. But everybody gets paid. And so basically you incentivize a class of scam hunters, smart like trappers, to go out and find the pelts of scammers in your environment. More or less. Yeah. And just like it would just do it, and then you don't have to figure it out. You don't have to try to train a government employee on how to use, like a WeChat account or whatever. Like, you just fucking pay it out to the people who can figure it out.
Yeah, who already have the knowledge, the consultants that are...
Right. And then they just swim. They just troll the waters. These boats, this Coast Guard of fraud just trolls the waters, and somebody finds FTX and they win.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. Anywho, you could it's like a bug bounty for an economy, right?
Right.
You just start
bug bounty.
Yeah. Bug bounty for fraud in your economy. Someone's sitting on our shit. Who is it, you think? Caption. Okay, there we go. So anyway, that would be super fun, right?
Yeah.
Like, all those YouTube channels that like
excellent...
reverse scam the scammers. Yeah.
I think that'd be an excellent proposal and catalyst, honestly.
Yeah. And then the law enforcement agents that actually went out and stopped that shit, they should be held up as heroes, like a goddamn sports team. It should be like, fuck yeah, go Greg, nice job, way to shut down that child pornography ring,
Yeah, way to
or whatever the fuck. Get the public involved, man. Yeah, it's like, and then
your grandma.
And then it's like you stop all the fake arrest, all the fake FBI, like where they, what was the thing with the Michigan lady? 12 people showed up to a kidnapper, and 11 of them were federal agents or something. It was like anyway. There was during the riots of the 2020s. Hang on, let me beat the shit out of this BB unit.
Gotcha.
Oh my god. So during that, we got to get on base here. 13 seconds. Someone grab a base. Grab a base. 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 Here we go, base. I'm running to base. 4, 3, get on that sweet base. We're basing. We're based. Kill everyone. No mercy. Oh man, we were in a nice riff there. What was that? What were we talking about?
We're talking about setting up grants essentially to
find fraudsters.
To find fraudsters, exactly. Yep.
All right, we're kind of in a sensitive position with this timer situation. So I think what we need to do is just kill them all anywhere we can find them. If there's less of them, and then we go hunt down the people who are camping on our B over there. All right, really gotta. Yeah, so I mean that would be seeing some real turtle justice out here in these streets. To have like the bug bounty, and then the only law enforcement people you hold up, they're not the ones who did massive civil asset forfeiture last year. They're not the ones who faked, persuaded somebody who was kind of silly to do a crime and then arrested them before they did the crime. They pre-crimed somebody.
Yeah. Bait and switch. Hey, I'm doing crime. Want to join me? Fuck you, man.
the way they encourage those people. It's like they can't find enough actual bad guys, so they have to go invent bad guys and arrest them and get promoted for arresting fake bad guys they made. It's like, that's not the law enforcement we want or need. That's crazy. That's crazy that we would call that law enforcement. It's like, that's not enforcing laws. That's like really on the edge of fucking with our civil liberties. Yeah. You go do something. They should have to do something real, right? So anyway, somebody, I think it was Lawrence Lessig. Lawrence Lessig is this crazy cool Harvard professor who came up with this concept called Creative Commons. Creative Commons was the answer to over-powerful, kind of like Disney overreach. I mean, we're playing inside of a Disney property right here. So let's just criticize the fabric of the situation we find ourselves in. But
we hate the ground we walk on.
We hate the ground we walk on. So I mean, without Disney, there's no way I'd be shooting, Han Solo in the face with this laser gun. So thanks for that.
Yeah,
thanks for that branding. Anyway, Disney was trying to extend copyright again. Like Disney has been responsible for extending the copyright. Because here's how it's supposed to work. You make something. You can copyright it. After a certain number of years, other people can reference it and use it. You only get a certain number of years of exclusivity. And there's a balance there. There's a balance between how long you can profit from a new technology and then and how long what is that? And so Walt Disney has been pretty much the main one who has extended it and asked for more time over and over and over again. So they were doing... Go ahead. Sorry, you were saying something?
I was just gonna say that, yeah, it makes sense to, like, if you made something,
yeah,
you should be able to profit from it while you're alive. But
there you go.
If you
Smart. While you're alive, love it.
Yeah, while you're alive. But if, let's say, your company gets it, they shouldn't be able, for the next 300 years, the next schmuck who gets a hold of your enterprise, and wants to continue making money off of it for them and their fucko friends or whatever, just their investors.
The hedge fund that owns it and puts insane management in charge.
That made you rich because you came up with something cool, which you should happen, but those guys shouldn't be able to block other people from the stuff that you made
building on it,
for them,
remixing it.
Yeah. In perpetuity. Yeah.
Okay, so the big thing that was happening was Napster. And Napster was on the scene in like 2000, 2001. And for the first time, people could get music, just all the music. And these are humans, all the humans there, myself included. We grew up in an era where if you wanted the music, you paid for that CD. And it was all tied to the atoms of that CD. And they put all kinds of everything they could do to like make you buy the damn CD. And you wanted to hear one song, but you had to hear all the other music. And it was kind of crazy that they had a lock on it like that. And the music industry, because of that cheap shit money, became legendary for its corruption. Just like I'm what's wrong with the music industry was like a cliche. Like what is a music industry? What should a music industry do? A music industry should take artists that are unknown and make them known and make it easier for that artist to make money and so that more people can enjoy the art that they're making. They're basically art dealers.
Connect the demand to the supply.
Demand to supply. Are people demanding bubblegum pop? No. They're not demanding NSYNC and all that. They do now because they think that's art. But they were not demanding that. They made that because it was easy for them to do it. It was easy for them to put it into their machine and pull the lever on their machine over and over. So that's the art that you saw. That's why we had that kind of art. And so what'd you just do? Your job was to sell art to people who wanted cool art, and you convinced them that they wanted bullshit art that was easier for you to make. And then you pulled the trigger repeatedly. Dude, good job. You destroyed the thing you loved, and it's all bullshit. Nice. And why did that happen? Because they had that cheap, shitty lock. If they were only rewarded when they played an awesome song, or they didn't have such control over the environment, like the Ticketmaster owns all of the they're allowed to merge with Live Nation, and now there's one company that owns all the venues that chooses what artists you can go see live. That's definitely going to affect speech in America if you can't go to a live show without this company having said, yes, you're an acceptable set of humans to do this. That's the, that makes for shittier music.
Definitely.
That makes for, because the competition isn't real,
Yeah.
Anyway, dude, this is why I love that you're gonna try to keep your foot on the crypto situation, because cryptos, NFTs, actually putting art on the blockchain like that, there is the opportunity for it to free the art, so that the actual people who want that good art can find that good art. And there's not a lot of fuckery involved. The reason why there's the reason
out those
the reason
middlemen that we're talking about. It cuts
you can
out
go
the
to
ability,
you can go to a gallery and you can see bullshit art in a lot of places. Not art that isn't just hey, here's a junior craftsman who's trying to figure out how this medium works. That's what you're looking at. And look, isn't it kind of good? Not that kind of stuff. But art that sells for millions of dollars that is bullshit. It's that happens all the time, and there's a bunch of reasons for it. But one of the big reasons is that there's gatekeepers in the art world. That it isn't just art art for the people. There's art tastemakers and people who are like, you know, they want to control what can be considered art and not considered art. Oh, I know, we ran down that clock. Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah!
Get to the bottom of this donkey imbroglio.
Anyway, I think that we should, as a people, as a species, we should think about how we incentivize our art. We were first and second. We were getting no lift help from the rest of those humans.
Nope.
On that thing. There is always, like, I mean, if you could just have cool art, like good art, and people who want to look at good art, like cool art, and you could skip all the gatekeepers, you might not have to go to a gallery and someone tells you that a pile of towels is art or something like that, you know? It's like,
yeah, maybe.
And how much did that pile, the pile of towels is $45 million? Oh, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm sure that's real. Like,
yeah,
and
crazy.
Fuck, dude. When I was going to
it's
art school, that stuff was, in the 90s, that stuff was, it was insane. It was insane how just ubiquitous that kind of crap was. It was crazy. But, yeah, so if you have a decentralized marketplace and you have a decentralized currency to pay for it, you know, and you like, I love that because you're getting closer to no middlemen and,
yeah,
you know,
getting
no
closer to
restricted
free
transactions.
And
Free markets, yeah.
You're not dealing with centralized curation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Centralized curation.
Dude, if you could go on the Joe Rogan Experience as a guest on the JRE, what would you talk about? Like, what would you want to lay down for, like, the whole cool world to hear?
The whole cool world to hear. Man,
Yeah, man.
that's hard because there's so many good things have been talked about on there. Do you want to stand out?
Yeah.
I think I would try and talk about, like something to do. Oh fuck, I don't know. I have thought about. I'd talk about education reform or something like that.
I hear you.
I would
That's
bring
awesome.
some.
Education
I would
reform
bring
is
a
awesome.
troop. I'd bring a troop of teachers with me to complain on the air. Talk about how
crap
bad
it
the
is.
public school system is, and how it hurts students, and doesn't and doesn't do what it's intended to.
What's inside the tin isn't what's on the label?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
And talk about incentives, and talk about incentive structures, and the social dynamics of incentive structures, and how that really you have these student improvement plans in elementary school, but let's say you get put on a student improvement plan because you have dyslexia, okay? And you're not dumb, you just literally can't write your fives the right way, and you can't read very well because your mind is like
organized differently.
Itself. Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, but then so you get put on an improvement plan for dyslexia, and you get taken out of class, out of your grade level class, to go do special work with the other kids who actually can't read, you miss out on the current grade level schooling that you need to be doing, and you're given work for someone who struggles reading but doesn't struggle with dyslexia. So you're actually your education is disrupted, and everyone treats you like you're stupid now into perpetuity because you have this label on you that it is. So essentially, like in 3rd grade, I guess, if you get an EIP in 3rd grade, it's like a death sentence. It's like 80-90% predictability you won't even graduate high school, you know?
Yeah,
And
what's an EIP?
This is the improvement plan. That's just what they're called around
Oh, I
here.
see.
Yeah.
Nice.
Student.
Dude, I'm dyslexic. Like I am, like on,
I'm a little
dude.
dyslexic.
When Eric and I learned I was dyslexic 2 years ago.
Whoa.
I was listening to Eric Weinstein talk about a bunch of shit, and he was like and he was describing he's dyslexic, or I think he's dyslexic. Yeah, he's dyslexic, and he was describing what dyslexia was, and I was like, that sounds like really goddamn familiar. And he goes, yeah, people just don't know about dyslexia enough. He goes, people should go take this dyslexia test. And anyway, it's a test, and it has like 36 questions, and if you get like 12 of them right, you get like 12 of them indicates that you are in fact dyslexic. I got like 29.
Wow.
Or something crazy. I like almost aced that dyslexia test. And so I was like, wait a fucking minute. And so I got a couple books, and I read a little bit about it, and I just was like, dude, this is so what was going on. Like when I was a kid in school, reading out loud was the thing that got me. Everybody would read in class, and I would get so nervous because I couldn't do it. I couldn't figure it out. But I would, you know, I didn't ask for any special treatment or anything. But I should have asked the teacher to help me, but I didn't know that I should be able to ask the teacher to help me, right? I should have been able to ask the teacher, like, hey, dude, if you want me to read out loud, that's cool. Just show me the paragraph ahead of time, because I'm gonna memorize it. And because that's what I did. And so I could my visual memory was like rock solid in the Lord, because I had to visually memorize everything, because that's what dyslexia is. You're sort of using the motion center of your brain differently, and the visual center of your brain differently. Dyslexia means bad letters. And so anyway, I remember there was this one teacher who I couldn't count ahead far enough or fast enough. She wanted us to read some stuff out loud, and it's like you had to go up and down the rows. And so I couldn't practice it ahead of time, or, you know, make sure there wasn't anything that would throw me in the text. I didn't know I was. Yeah, back on base. Oh shit! I thought we had that cap. Sorry.
Yeah.
Damn, dude, I ran off too easy. I ran off too quick. Okay, so anywho, so she got super pissed at me because I was stumbling in my reading out loud, and I was like, and she was like, she thought that there might be a problem, or that I might have something going on, but I don't know if she knew. I don't know. It wasn't happy. So anyway, my mom got told that maybe I have like a learning disability or something like that, and so she was anyway. This was like I remember my mom like kind of confronting me about it, and I was trying to read something to her, and the letters kept jumping around on the page. Like I couldn't actually read the sentence, because when you have dyslexia, you sort of go from the back to the front to the front to the back of the sentence. It's sort of like it folds or whatever, or at least that's my understanding of it. And anyway, I faked her out. I was like, I got her convinced that I needed glasses, that I just couldn't see the words, because I didn't know what it meant when the words jumped around on the page. All I knew is that they would not hold the fuck still. So I could read them out loud, which was very important. So anyway, I went to the optometrist, my eyes were perfect, and then somehow I dodged it, and I just got around it. I got some other teachers. Dude, I was in my 40s when I realized I had dyslexia. So, moral of the story.
I some, but I don't
right,
know.
right.
Because I definitely, like, don't always do stuff the right way. I'm
So yeah,
dyslexic sometimes.
in so many areas in school, I did feel super stupid. I felt like I cannot get this. But what it taught me is I had to work extra hard. So I would just have to work like whatever it was, 5x. Like, you know, like everybody else just has to read the paragraph out loud, but like I have to figure out which one I need to read and practice ahead of time. Like it was just like, okay, that's what I have to do. I wasn't really paying attention, honestly, to what the other kids are having to do or not, you know? Wasn't a big deal. I was like, had my hands full. But yeah, so anyway, it is really nice when it can be identified, and when the system can, like, yeah, because all those poor teachers who were like, man, I just really fucking failed at teaching him to read that. No, you didn't. You know, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it
well,
wasn't like you. It wasn't your
on
failure.
top of that,
no one was failing here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Go
On
ahead.
top of that, like, when a student fails something, like the lowest grade they can get is a 55, and when they get put on an improvement plan, they
Yeah.
can't. The teacher literally can't hold them back.
Oh,
Can you
God.
believe that?
That seems to me like it should be illegal.
Yeah. Like,
Because the kids that
none
are
of these
the kids that aren't passing have something going on. They got
Right.
they got a learning disability, or the visual, or they've got some trauma or some PTSD, or something's going on. Like, you know?
yeah. But you can't get held. It's so hard to hold people back. It's like
That's crazy.
impossible.
Because they want to, they're because they got
They
those
wanna
graduation
move them on.
stats.
Yeah, they need the graduation stats to keep getting money.
Yeah, that's right. You're what do you judge them on? Graduation. And it's like, wow, okay, so you made it to the finish line. Okay, was it a good race? That's the real question. Like,
Right.
did you
Stronger
learn
now.
anything? Well,
Did you learn
dude,
anything?
this is why I love trades. Trades are the best. And the reason they're the best is because the whole time you're doing it, you're learning something. Like you could go to a union trade job or whatever and like be an apprentice for like one day, and you would learn some shit that you could that probably meant something, you know? Like if you paid attention. And that's, you know, that's real learning. Like you're saying, like using your hands. Like that's a real. You can use your hands, and you could do it later, and it's got value, and you can sell the labor of your hands. That's fucking awesome. That's the way to go, dude. It's just so weird with the tech, because technology is a labor, and it is a I mean, there's recreational technology, you know, people that can like run an iPad and they can like watch movies, but then there's the people who configure the Wi-Fi, the router, and the servers, and the system, and then it writes the code, and you know, there's professional technologists, and it's weird how we lump everybody into the same category like that. Like as far as I know, there isn't like a tech union. Like it's weird that this one labor skill set that every single person needs is somehow not able to union up, you know,
Too
or
common.
have any.
Yeah, it's like it's a tragedy of the
It's
commons.
really important, and you could make a union just out of one-on-one tech support that is delivered from one person to one person, in person or virtual, like not group any, like it's just like it's like a whole skill set. There's it's like it must be like how the teacher that gets charged with teaching all the dyslexic kids at school. Oh, sorry, got a cap. I'm breaking my own rules here. So when you get identified as having a learning impairment at school, you go to special classes, and you're supposed to get like specialists who like know how the fuck your brain works, and like why that's different, and they got right. Like they don't want to run you through the same techniques that you've got in the regular pool of kids, because you're not going to be able to keep up with that shit. This is
except
good.
for that's not how they do that.
That's not how they do that. Yeah.
That's not
No,
how
I
they
never
do
got
that.
identified. I'm trying to say I slept
okay.
through this I flipped through this thing. But go ahead.
But I'm saying that you're describing something that doesn't even exist. Like they don't even address the dyslexic kids.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
They get the same worksheets as the
Yeah.
you know, and yeah, whatever.
Yeah, you're right.
So
There should be like a special. They could do it slightly differently and have great results. Is the thing. dyslexics, the thing about dyslexics, the way you can find a dyslexic, and I think the way that Eric Weinstein turned me on to this, was he was talking about some of his coping mechanisms, like the way that you cope. And so, how do I cope with not, you develop like an insane memory, and you you also use your body, and you kind of want to move more when you're talking, because it's like the motion center of your brain is connected to the audio center of your brain, or I'm sorry, the motion center of your brain is connected to the language center of your brain. That might be why I'm pretty fucking good at this stuff. Shooting fools out here in these streets and holding the conversation at the same time.
Right. Maybe.
That might be like a little self-fulfilling success prophecy. Oh.
Yeah, maybe it is. This is talking and shooting at the same time.
Okay, so
Taxing.
let me see here. What grade was it? Okay, so when I was in high school, does the schools that you are familiar with have gifted education? Gifted class?
In high school, yeah, we had some classes that were college credit.
Yeah, those are AP class. AP classes are sort of classes that are high end that any student can take, but gifted is like a different. I grew up in the Midwest, and they had this track called Gifted. And Gifted was for people, they would basically test your IQ or whatever, and then the kids that were had high IQs, they would essentially pull them aside part of the time and be like, hey man, is math stupid easy for you? And they're like, yeah, I can dunk on math. And they're like, okay, cool, so why don't you take advanced math classes? And they would push them, the fourth graders would be doing the sixth grader work and this kind of stuff. And so there's tracks. There's different kinds of tracks. Okay, we got 1 minute to get on stage here. Dude, why are we not winning this? We always win this one. Focus up! Focus up, humans! Let's go! Alright, we got 43 seconds to get on base. They threw some heroes at us out here. That was a serious part of that. That was much harder to break through on.
The heroes are better.
Yeah, they got some skilled heroes on here. All right, cutting them down.
Really well.
We got half a minute, but we had a good push there. That was a great push. These reindeer 7. Nice, these reindeer 7. 4, 3, 2, let's go. I'm with you in 1. We're capping. Holy shit. This is some late bloomer shit. Okay, they're coming. I was looking at my radar. I was trying to give us a radar heads up, and I realized that I can see them as well. I'm staring at them. Anyone with eyes to see can see that this shit's going down right here. Going down right the fuck here.
Alright, we got some. Alright.
We're capping in OT. What were we just talking about? Okay. Okay, so gifted tracks. Okay, so yeah. So there was that was a positive neural divergence kind of thing, right? Damn, this could get ugly. Damn it. Combo. Super combo there on the witchcraft and the dude, that was a mighty stand. Nice, they got us. They freaking got us. Okay. Woohoo! Cleared for grenade. All right. We pushed hard. We didn't take them down. All good in the hood. Let's come back to these excellent topics in un momento. Let's kick this shit in. light coming out of hyperspace just in time for the snow show here.
Da-da-da-da-da.
Dude,
The
we're talking
snow
about
show?
super serious shit today. Bunch of super heavy,
Yeah,
super
yeah.
serious shit. Well, let's do some more. Let's do some more. So,
I do want to say I probably want to last game it.
last game it. You got it. Let's go.
Getting a little
Motion sick.
tired.
Motion tired. You got it. It's good to call it. Let's make it count. We stopped him on the first level on this one last time, so this is an excellent one to go out on. I wanted to catch you up on those vitamins.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Okay, so vitamin
yeah,
C every day. That's an everydayer. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that pizza vitamin looks cool too.
It looks cool,
Like
right? Because it's liquid.
black pill.
Well, because it's oil. It's oil, and they can do oil extractions with CO2. There's other ways they can do it too, but yeah, those are little oils. That's olive oil, oregano, garlic. Those are all herbs that speed up the blood. They make you hot and they'll keep you up at night. So that's a good one to take. That's the only one that really needs a warning label. You always want to take that one with food because all of those oils are pretty hot oils. So if you have some food in your stomach, you'll usually have a better experience with those.
Okay,
they got the first one, which
I had one this morning.
Yep.
It was
Nice.
fine. It was good.
If you take that one with a little food, it's if you ever have trouble with it, that's the way to do it. Is to like just eat with a banana or something like that. Put something else in there, and the enzymes. So the enzymes are you should take like 2 of those with like every meal if you can. And what ends up happening is food when it's processed.
Gold thing.
Digest gold, exactly. So that's the baseline. You take 2 of them with every meal. And what that means is that if there's any molecule in there that doesn't come with its own enzyme, because nature packs its own enzymes. If you eat fruit off the tree, that fruit comes with all the enzymes necessary to digest it. But when you desiccate the fruit, or when you you can heat up the fruit, yeah, you cook it. You get rid of all of its enzyme properties. You denature the enzymes. It's part of what cooking means. Yeah. And anyway. The trouble is that your body also needs enzymes to do all kinds of shit. Enzymes are like the basic enablers of cellular activity, and your body carries a set of enzymes with it. You have like endo enzymes. Like your body and some people think there's a limited amount in your body. Like it's a lot, but there's somehow a bucket that has a bottom to it. So what ends up happening is your food that you eat doesn't have its enzymes, so it has to rob Peter to pay Paul. And it has to, you have to use up your body enzymes on your food. So, which doesn't happen if you're eating all natural foods. If you eat truly foods from the environment, they come with enzymes. It never comes up. But it comes up all the time in the West because of our processed foods. So, by putting in the 2 at each meal, not only does your food go down well, and you have a lot less gastrointestinal kind of issues and stuff like that, but you get more energy out of the food. You just your body doesn't have to work as hard to get the chemistry it's supposed to get out of food when you eat it. Yeah. So
it's like adding extra helping hands in the rip the food apart.
Yeah. And this is not health advice for the litigious Martians in the future. This is not health advice. This is no Earthling would possibly get worried about this, but these other breakaway societies that we are forming out there in the stars, those societies, those are the ones we have to worry about.
What? But worry about what?
Worry about them using a very hyper-powerful AI to reach back in the space-time continuum and resurrect us into a body so that they can throw us in jail for our thought crimes. Like they can come get us. I know, right? That would be like a real pain in the ass if you woke up inside a slave body and they're like, "Hey man, you've been recalled. The stuff you said today was totally illegal in 5037. So
could you just
here you
delete
go."
it for me?
No, they're like, no, you're our
you
soul
must
slave.
pay.
Yeah,
You've
you
heard
will
enough
be
people.
slaved back into the Matrix.
Oh my goodness, right?
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness, oh my goodness.
What was the serious topic we were talking about right before that?
School, dyslexia.
Yes.
We have been pushed back.
Dude, okay, so when I was in high school, there was this guy named Dr. Childress. And Dr. Childress was like, he was a next level geniusy sort of human in himself. He was very eccentric and really fun and kind of was one of like 5 teachers that I felt like that I've ever had in my life that I felt like really had an awesome sense of humor. Like he would just say shit to get you laughing. It was like his job was to make you laugh at something. It was fucking awesome.
Or prop.
He was like a part-time comedian, like but he was a special ed teacher, and his specialization was the gifted kids, right? And I can't remember what the fuck it was, but I was in a play, and in the play I had a bunch of lines, and I memorized the lines, and I didn't drop a single line, and it was a very long amount of lines, and someone was like, "Hey man, is that normal? Is that normal for someone to be able to memorize all those lines like that? That doesn't seem normal." And I was like, I could memorize any fucking thing. And it turns out that my dyslexia coping skills were like next level when it came to like doing lines in plays, because you could just like, it was like kind of trivial, because when I couldn't do math and I couldn't do reading well, to the degree that math was based on reading, I should say, shape-based math, I was into all day long. If you gave me like shapes and some 3-dimensional space to think about, I would just trip out for you as a teacher. Like I would just be like, let's talk about these shapes and how they're moving, dude. Like I was all day with that stuff. But when someone was like, you know, here's a story problem, and here's like, you know, it hit some part of my brain that I was like, fuck, and it wouldn't work out. So anyway, while I wasn't doing that, I was trying to make up for it by doing like next level storytelling. So science is just a bunch of stories. It's a bunch of stories that fits together, and I went deep. I just like aced out that part of it. I was like, all I have to do is memorize the history of how plants got here, and I can get an A. I was like, fuck you, I'm getting this A.
Right.
I was like failing the shit out of spelling, which is like a classic symptom. Like somebody should have caught my 10% spelling bees that I stayed up all night trying to study for. It was crazy.
Couldn't remember how to spell, but you could...
No, it just the way I was learning, I didn't know the tricks. There are tricks I wasn't smart enough to invent the tricks in a vacuum.
Yeah, I wasn't innovating.
Exactly.
Yeah, I wasn't re-innovating the stuff. They just need to
I didn't make the new language that needed to be made, the new firmware, but I did get by with a little help from my friends. And although in high school I also got high with a little help from my friends. Dr. Childress became a friend. He got to talking to me, and he goes, "Dude, have you ever been like tested?" And I was like, "For what?" And he was like, "Anything. Like anything in your brain." And I was like, "No." And he was like, "All right, come over here." And he like ran me through some tests, and he was like, he sat me down and he goes, "Hey, I just want you to know that what I'm about to tell you represents a complete failure of the education system. So that's the framework I want you for." He was like, I can't. Yeah, they tested some kind of spatial memory or IQ with me or something, and I aced it. And they were like, "Dude," I guess my IQ was high too or whatever. And they were like, "Dude," they were like, "Yeah, whatever." They were like, "Dude, you should have been like pulled aside like years ago, and like your brain can learn crazy fucking well in certain ways that are just, you're probably not getting any advantage from the way it's working out." And he was like, "I'm so sorry." Yeah, he was like, "I'm so sorry we didn't catch this earlier, man." He goes, "I'm gonna make it up to you." He's like, "What do you want to do?" And I'm like, "I am fucking into science." And he goes, "Dude, I got you." And he got me a job at the UMKC science bio lab, and they had computers and mice and like beakers and like and lasers, and I was like, fuck yeah. And it was the best. It was so the best. And they basically gave me a job and made me an intern, and I was like 16 or 17. I wrote code for them, and we worked on a military project. We got a grant from the government to figure out an interface, a laser-based interface, to detect blood pH in the field. So apparently, when you get shot, you know, and you bleed out in the field, you are what you really want is a bunch of blood around that you can transfuse, and somebody who knows how to administer it. So they got to match up your blood type. Incoming. They got to match up your blood type, like O positive, whatever. And then they've got to match up, but they also have to match a pH. And a lot of people were dying in the field because the pH wasn't matching. So what we were doing is we were getting rats, and we were shaving their little bellies. And I think B's in trouble. I'm going to go try to help him out. We would shave their little bellies, and then we would monitor, we would take a blood sample from them and measure the pH in a really big machine. And then we would also shine a laser on their belly and measure the fluctuations in the laser's reflectivity off of certain wavelengths of light. And based off that, the concept is that you could back engineer your way into some pH readings. And so when you were in the field, when you were getting shot at by God knows who, for God knows why, what you would do is you didn't have a big awesome pH machine, but what you did have was a laser. So, 1 minute. We're doing well here, dude. We are doing really good. I'm with you in 5. Boot Head Todd also died right after you. All right, man. Are they gonna get B?
You.
I hope not. I'm on B. B we're locking in on. Okay, so you don't have the big awesome machine in the field, but what you do have is one of this. It's like a cheap laser. So you use the cheap laser, and that gives you the pH and it saves lives. So anyway, that was the science we were doing, and it was so much fun. I got to dress up head to toe in this fucking full body like hazmat suit, and I'd walk around like I was a stormtrooper in like a science fiction novel, and I would go down to the mouse laboratory, and I would get the mice out, and I would make sure they were cool, and I would bring them back up, and we would then use them in the experiments or whatever. But okay, we got contested command posts. Not anymore. And anyway, it was super fucking fun. I called myself Secret Agent 1138. I gave myself a secret name. Yeah.
How old were you? What grade were you in?
I was 16, 17. I was like sophomore in high school, something like that.
That's cool. That's a fucking cool job. Doing
It's fucking cool.
as a sophomore, dude.
Yeah, it was like it was a MacGyver kind of thing,
dude.
and it was, yeah.
Paul, I beat you. Did you see that?
Did you fucking see that?
I literally got 25,000 points and you got 17.
Dude, this is a moment.
It is a moment.
The student has become the master. Like you've surpassed my and we've really been light on the tactical training on this channel. When I first kicked this off, I was like, dude, we could totally get into like squad warfare tactics and like difference between high ground and low ground, and like we could really rock this. Dude, you have mastered this.
I didn't smoke today. So
nice.
I
yeah. Damn. So you're next leveling it.
I did significantly noticeably better not smoking
on your
today than I have in weeks past.
Dude, that is funny. That is super funny. Well, dude,
man.
this was so much fun to hang out. It was so much fun to go through all these. I'm gonna quit us out of here. I'm gonna dump this sucker. Man, so many. We started so many heavy rabbit holes. How you feeling? Are you feeling good?
Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm excited for this weekend. I've got plenty to think about. Lots of stuff to think about from the last few days. I've been thinking about I'm really considering the welding. I don't like the 5-year component, but I think that could be so strong. Especially like it'd be super cool to be able to be part of a union and be able to because unions are regulated entities that interface with government and everything. Well, think about being able to go and get a bunch of cred inside of a union, be part of it, and steer and influence that union into like crypto, regulating it with blockchain technology or stuff like that. Just being able to take a legacy like collective, or a legacy like a union is just a group of people who are in line with each other around values, which is exactly what a blockchain community is essentially. But a union is going to be more specific to a specific industry, but we're going to see we see the ability for our unions to influence markets. We have
Yeah.
not as much anymore,
Right.
but
Yeah.
to kind of see how the social dynamics inside of a union would work and be able to maybe just replicate that in other places. I think it's I'm saying this badly. I said it better when I was talking to one of my other friends earlier today talking about this. But
No. Because
I
okay, so this is the real promise of the Cardano sort of governance tech, like citizens and governance structures, is that the magic is that all of the ways that corruption can leak into organizations can be eliminated because you have digitized those functions and you have a ledger that you can collectively review. And
Right.
you
Well,
know,
I'm talking like independent regulatory bodies and stuff like that. How do
yeah,
you influence that to create that? Like in unions, I feel like are super ancillary to those efforts. I mean, they're regulated themselves and and whatnot, but I'm sure they have influence, and so it'd be cool to see how like I mean, like the plumbers and steam fitters union ha, is has been around since like the 1870s or something like
yeah,
that. This one that this guy I was talking to is like it's been at this location for the last 50 years,
yep,
and it's like a 250-year-old or 150-year-old entity, you know.
yeah.
So that's cool. It would be cool to be part of that in a
There's this
way.
book that I'm reading for next Friday. We have a book club at work. This book is called Legacy, and it's about the All Blacks, which are the state official rugby team for New Zealand. And they have this concept of they have a word for it. It's like Wahana Haru, but I can't remember the exact word. But what it means is that you improve the uniform. So the official mandate of the All Blacks is to inspire the country of New Zealand to be better. So why All Blacks? Because New Zealand needs inspiration, and so they take their job like really super seriously. And so when you get into the uniform, it's your job to leave it better than you found it. So their
Mhm.
record, their rituals, their training, it's to push on like all the levels. Anywho, when you bring to me joining like a group of people who's been transporting hot liquids and water
Right,
and
yeah,
hot
it's
air,
super
for like
super
150
practical,
years.
like
Yeah,
logistics, we're A to Bing shit. Like
yeah,
we're just like
yeah,
and that is what's cool to me. It's like I want I want to be able to be a skilled craftsman
yeah,
in industry that
totally.
is ubiquitous. Like you're always gonna need
Yeah,
welders,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And
100%.
and if I can always have a backup where I can make 70K a year doing that,
Exactly.
then boom.
You're you're rock solid.
Because right now, like I can go to, I just don't trust any I don't trust any small business owners to give away my management. I just and I don't like being a manager. I don't like telling people what to do.
Yeah.
I mean, I do. I'm just not good at it because I see how you can go. I see how it affects people so much, and maybe I just need more life experience so I get more confident about it. But yeah, I don't know.
I think the best way I know to manage people is with the Scrum process, and that's a
Yeah, well, that's a lot
very
of that pushes responsibility. Agile pushes responsibility to the people in the group. It's a
surely.
centralization of responsibility. You as a certified, licensed, whatever the fuck, Scrum Master,
Yeah.
you're a facilitator of a type of you're a facilitator
Organization.
of a
Yeah.
organization structure.
Yeah.
And that
Yeah.
organization structure doesn't put you as the boss. It puts you as the person who
helps make it happen.
who facilitates the experience that allow other people to do their best work and be the ones responsible for what they're the best at. And it's not saying I'm the boss, I'm going to control all the risks. It's saying, okay, Charlie knows everything about this. He's point in this area. Jane is point on this thing. Jane, you have an issue? You need help from Charlie? All right, Charlie, this is what you need to make sure you help Jane with this. Blah blah blah. You know, just like just help facilitate that experience and create the environment where all of those people in that in an agile team, which is similar to like a holocratic circle.
Yeah.
Know that, feel comfortable that they could speak up and get their needs met, and voice their concerns where they weren't going to get shit on. And I think that's the biggest I think that's what's really cool about being a Scrum Master.
Yeah.
But it doesn't exist very broadly. It's crazy how many people even around tech don't really know what Agile is. And
I know.
Like I said, like one of these Bitcoin guys, I was like, I can create structured custom meetings, and I'm a meeting facilitator, and I could pretty much. I didn't say Scrum Master. I should have said that. I was like, he was one of the first people I talked to. Anyway, but when I said holocratic circle, it just lost him. And I just watched his eyes check me off, and then he was done talking to me. Well,
this is where networking is awesome, right? Because networking means you get to find your people and like meet all the right people,
right. and you get to practice. You get to practice,
right?
Expressing yourselves in ways that make the most sense. Yeah, which is awesome. Which is what I definitely need to continue practicing. Yeah.
Nice, dude. It's magical. Blessings on all the investigations. That sounds like some really exciting stuff. IT became that for me. Like I got into IT just through electricity and electronics when I was a kid, and then it morphed into other early communication stuff when I was a teenager, and then all of the operating system skills that I developed turned into like low-level programming, and I got into content management systems when they were first developed in 2001 or 2. There was this thing called Gray Matter that came out, which was like the first blogging software, and like to be able to deploy that on like a Linux server was like fuck yeah. And you could say, and anyway, that started the whole so much of what we're living in now. It is. I love what you're saying. Like to be able to like have a 70K that you can just fall back on that you love, and also the opportunity for mastery. It's truly
that opportunity for mastery. I think that's a big one. I've kind of gotten bummed out because I feel like I've gotten so generalist, and then I am in the environments I'm in.
Yeah.
I can say I'm a consultant and not necessarily fiend mastery, but like try and judge it essentially.
Yeah.
But if I didn't take computer science or anything like that, I don't really. I want, that is one thing that I want to know that I'm doing a good job and become confident in that. And I am been noticing this quarter that's what has been really bothering me, and that's like clenching my jaw, and I'm like worried I'm gonna get PMJ or something like that. I'm just stressed. I know. It's like I gotta nail myself down to the ground a little bit.
Yep,
and
makes sense to me.
And you join one of these like the pipe fitter, the plumbing and steam fitter union. Like you join that and you're in an apprenticeship program. Within 90 days, your benefits kick in. You know, you're making. I would be making first year. It'd be probably making $30,000 a year, which is about what I've been making anyway. So
that's awesome.
But then I would be doing the blockchain stuff that I have been in more of my free time and whatnot, because I can't join an apprenticeship program without working full time.
Yeah.
Which is kind of annoying, but
Yeah. No, that, yep. I mean, dude, it is worth building it. I mean, for all the reasons you just mentioned. That's a great base, and then you just build from there.
And
And
I
you
want
know,
that. I want a base because I've been
yeah,
thinking like
yeah,
I'm feeling good about my relationship with Bailey and whatnot,
yep,
and I that's and now I'm like to the point where okay, I can't fuck this up by not being able to make money or like getting
yeah.
like I that was a stability that I felt like I needed, and I feel like I figured it out. But now I can't mess it up on my own, and like just by being too risky in terms of my
Yeah, this is the thing that
vocational.
I always had a concern with all the crypto stuff and the groups you're doing and things like this. It isn't you're sort of you go from project to project, and it isn't as stable. And
Yeah.
dude, with the way that is all just built on water and sand, it is wild to me. I couldn't even be contemplating crypto-y kind of stuff if I didn't have like a solid 9 to 5. Like I love my day job. Like in fact,
Mhm.
I have I've got to get some dental work done. I've been clenching my jaw so crazy hard that I've like
Mm.
changed the shape of my teeth and my enamel's coming off or something like that. And so anyway,
It's
I've
called
had to like,
bruxism,
yeah,
something
totally.
like that.
That's right. That's right. It's gotten crazy, and I need to. I mean, I basically have to take a deep look at like what's my stress level at my job, and like I got to figure out great ways to not take so much of it home with me. Although I love working, that's the problem. It's so much fun to
Mhm.
work.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. What I'm working on, I'd clench one side of my mouth.
One
Like
side.
I do
It's
one
worth it.
side.
If there are little interventions you can make and you can find a cool dentist, like my dentist had this whole program where he could like file down different parts of your teeth and this would somehow balance it all out and wouldn't make it so bad. And I was like, that sounds like witchcraft. And now he's
Yeah.
like, dude, you're going to need like some enamel caps. And I'm like, oh my God, dude, I got
Nah,
to
I don't
figure this
trust
out.
dentists. Honestly, I don't.
my my dentist, my dentist has a pastime, a hobby. He volunteers. He goes to hospitals. He does this. He goes to
He does
kids
nitrous.
parades. That he's a clown. My dentist is a professional clown, and he's like so he's studied the art of clowning and humor, and
What the
he's one
fuck?
of the dude, he is one of the smartest slash wildest craziest people I know. And he's like completely sober and like rock solid, and he just is like this super dentist that doesn't use any mercury. That's why I go to him. Like he I went to a dentist at one point who helped me get all the mercury out of my teeth and used like ceramics, and that was awesome. And then when I moved here, I had to find another one who maintained it, and this guy's a no mercury guy, and so
Mhm.
he's awesome, and that's been very very helpful, that part of it.
Yeah,
And
going
uh,
less crazy, less quickly.
but dude, when I first met him, I had tons of questions and slash jokes for him about. I was like, so like, how much nitrous do you do as a clown? Like, what is the number of nitrous hits you will go through? And he was just like, you're so funny. He was like a Grateful Deader like back in the day. And anyway, his office is so cool because he's the DJ. And he has like a CD collection
Yeah.
in the back, and so he'll be like, "Dude, we're listening to like cowboy hymns from the '70s or the '30s,
Cowboy
the
hymns.
1930s." And
Cowboy
like,
hymns.
these are cowboys singing around a fire, and it's on loop, and that's what we're listening to now. And then it's just like you're like, Cowboy Day, that's cool, man. I
Cowboy day.
I went last night and just like get my teeth cleaned and stuff, and like they were listening to Christmas carols, and it was all human voices and like strings. It was beautiful. It was like all the instruments that were used you could find readily in 1435. It was
Interesting.
yeah, it was all just like it was there was no electronics in it at all, and it was wild. It was just such an organic sound, and classic hymns, Christ and Jesus and God and love and forgiveness, and it was just like, listen to these fucking themes. These are the best.
Yeah.
Stuff has gotten shallow. The
Yeah.
overproduction of media there is a kind of a trivial shallowness out there. I feel, and anyway, it reminds me when I'm making stuff. It's like, think of why you're making it. Think of what try to infuse it with some of the stuff you really care about. Like, anyway, this is the bonus of having a craft. My day job is a craft, and I use my hands, even though my hands are usually inside my head, to make shit.
Right.
and like fix shit and like put shit together. And yeah, it is really nice to have a place that you can apply mastery. It feels so damn good.
Yeah. I'm looking for mastery, dude.
Dude, that is awesome. Peter, have a fantastic rest of your evening.
You too. Enjoy the weekend.
You too, man.